Your top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts Bringing Value Home. Members of the Diplomatic Corps, civil society joined thousands in the National Park in celebration of 187 years of freedom from slavery. President Ali recognizes unbreakable spirit of our African ancestors in Emancipation Day message. IDPADA-G demands justice on Emancipation Day, says the time for equity is now. And JAGDEO shuts down secret deal claims on a $422 million GPL energy project. No agreement signed yet. HGP Nightly News begins now. Good evening to our viewers here in Guyana and online. I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Friday 1st August 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. Happy Emancipation to all of you. This evening we will tell you that, as the famous reggae musician Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, but no one but ourselves can free our minds, as we reflect on the transatlantic slave trade and what is referred to as the gravest crimes committed against humanity. Nightly News took its cameras to the National Park, where scores of Guyanese gathered to celebrate Emancipation Day activities. Let's join Antonio Day.
Thousands descended on the National Park on Friday in observance of Emancipation Day activities.
As the famous reggae musician Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. No one but ourselves can free our minds. Nightly News spoke to several persons in civil society, including dignitaries and politicians, who offer these messages as the country celebrates 187 years of emancipation.
We must see the 1st of August as an event that ended chattel slavery. My major concern at this time is the marginalization of the African Guyanese community and this willingness on the part of the government to do tokenism rather than a proper empowerment strategy for all Guyanese, including African Guyanese.
This is a time where we can reflect upon the struggles and success of the struggles that our ancestors would have gone through. And so on this day, to our Guyanese, we know what's currently happening in our country, and we should not lose hope in the struggle, but we should continue to thrive and work together to ensure at the end of the day we can all live in Guyana happy, proud and free.
I come from Liberia, West Africa, and it feels like a home away from home. We have gone through some difficult times, but we just believe in perseverance, and I think the Guyanese, once they persevere with hard work, they'll accomplish good things.
I am Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News, wishing every Guyanese a happy emancipation.
Meanwhile, Nightly News' Marvin Cato caught up with scores of excited patrons in the National Park as Emancipation 2025 activities got underway.
Emancipation Day is celebrated on the 1st of August, and it commemorates the liberation of African people. Meanwhile, Nightly News caught up with scores of excited patrons in the National Park as Emancipation 2025 activities got underway. Here is what they had to say. We're here at the National Park. It's a hive of activities.
Yes.
So what are you expecting this afternoon?
Well, I've been coming here for many years, and I thoroughly enjoy August the 1st, Emancipation Day. There's such a big cosmopolitan mix of things to do, music, food, stalls, and it's vibrant. Everyone's dressed up. That's what I love about Guyana. It doesn't matter what race you are. You can be Chinese, you can be white, you can be Indian, but we're all dressed up as Africans today to celebrate Emancipation Day.
So we're here with Siobhan, and it's not her first rodeo. She loves coming here. So what would you like to say this afternoon?
Well, I would like to say it's a pleasant and quiet evening, and this is not my first time here. I've been here for several years in this same things that these girls doing because I used to dance. So I enjoy.
We're here with Neil, and this is his first time. So what do you have to say, Neil?
My first time is, it is wonderful, it's beautiful to see all the people, to see the colors, to enjoy the culture and the consciousness. The one thing I will say is that we need to change the name of the day from Emancipation Day to the Great Moral Awakening Day, because should be no need that you need emancipation. So I'm just glad about the awakening of the people that gave us this day. Change the day from Emancipation Day to the Great Moral Awakening Day.
Okay. So from all the foods, which one is your favorite African dish? Which African dish is your favorite?
Well, I'm doing this strategically. I had metem and conky on the way in. I plan to do cook up and pound on the way out.
We're here with Shafero from Suriname.
Yeah.
This is your first time here?
Yes, it's my first time in Guyana.
And how are you enjoying it so far?
It's very good. Very good, yes. People are friendly. It's good.
And what are you guys expecting to do here today? I see you're decked out in your red.
Ready for a culture performance.
Okay.
Yes.
It's good being here.
Yeah, it's good.
Catching up with you.
Yes.
Enjoy every minute of it.
Yes, enjoy everything.
So we're here with Kanma from Nigeria. How are you enjoying today's activities?
It's going well and I'm enjoying it. It reminds me of home, seeing everybody in their African print and embracing the African culture. Yeah.
And how long have you been in Guyana?
This is the 4th year in Guyana.
And every year you come out?
Yes, come out every year.
And what's your favorite dish?
My favorite dish?
In Guyana.
Cook-up.
Yeah. We all love it. Nice speaking with you. Enjoy the rest of your day. This is Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
In his Emancipation Day address to the nation, President Irfan Ali paid a tribute to the courage, endurance, and unbreakable spirit of our African ancestors, though subjected to the horrors of enslavement. Here again is Marvin Cato.
In his 5th Emancipation Day address to the nation, President Irfan Ali recognized the unbreakable spirit of our African ancestors who never relinquished their dignity or humanity. The President in a statement said the resistance to the inhumane transatlantic slave trade in captive Africans and the brutal plantation system, and according to the President, this remains one of the most profound stories of struggle and resilience in human history. The transatlantic slave trade has long been condemned by the international community as one of the gravest crimes against humanity, which tore millions from their homeland, inflicted unspeakable suffering, and attempted to erase the identity of an entire people. But the President reminded that the will to survive and the yearning for freedom proved far more powerful than the chains that bound them. Emancipation ended the system of African enslavement, but it also marked the beginning of a new journey, one driven by a yearning for economic power and self-determination. In the years since, African Guyanese, the President noted, have made indelible contributions to the building of our nation through education, entrepreneurship, sport, arts, governance, the professions, and particularly the village movement. They laid the foundation for resilient communities that continue to shape the future of Guyana. As we commemorate emancipation in 2025, we do so with a clear-eyed commitment to building a Guyana in which every citizen, regardless of race, religion, or background, has a stake in our development and shares in its bounty, he affirmed. The President called on the Afro-Guyanese community to reject with firm resolve the efforts of those who seek to manipulate race and ethnicity for narrow and selfish ends. These efforts, he said, serve no one. The President said he will remain unwavering in his pledge to ensure that no Guyanese is excluded from our national development, whether in the hinterland or on the coast, in the villages or the urban centers. All must be able to benefit from the growth and progress of our nation. He encouraged the nation to stand together, proud of our past, confident in our future, and united in our purpose. Let us celebrate the strength of our African Guyanese sisters and brothers and draw inspiration from their struggles and achievements. This is Marvin Cato reporting for HGP Nightly News.
Thanks, Marvin. We have more news for you after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the HGP Nightly News. As Emancipation Day celebrations unfold across the country, the International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana IDPADA-G has urged the nation to confront the painful truth that freedom came without justice and equity is long overdue. Here is more. In a powerful Emancipation Day statement, the International Decade for People of African Descent Assembly Guyana IDPADA-G called for urgent national action to address deep-rooted ethnic disparities that have persisted since the abolition of slavery in 1838. The organization stressed that African Guyanese communities, despite their historic sacrifices and critical role in building the nation, continue to face structural exclusion and unequal access to economic opportunities. IDPADA-G stated that, quote, emancipation brought no reparation, no land, and no protection from the inequalities that followed, and that legacy of denial still haunts our communities today. End of quote. As part of its push for change, IDPADA-G said it has formally submitted a concept note to the Ethnic Relations Commission, the ERC, proposing a national ethnic disparity audit and equity action plan. The goal is to collect data disaggregated by ethnicity, identify systemic gaps, and develop clear, actionable policies to promote fairness in public life. The group's proposal is not without precedent. It aligns with international commitments under the UN Decade for People of African Descent, the International Convention on the Elimination of Racial Discrimination, and the Sustainable Development Goals. But local will and support, they argue, are key to making it a reality. Their message is direct. Emancipation Day must be more than cultural pageantry and costume. It must be a catalyst for truth, justice, and reform. Quote, we call on the ERC, the government, political parties, and all Guyanese of conscience to back this effort so that Emancipation Day can be a turning point. Let truth lead, let justice speak, let equity prevail, the organization stated. For many across Guyana, the message strikes a chord. While Afro-Guyanese continue to celebrate their heritage with pride and strength, the call for equity reminds the country that freedom without fairness is an unfinished struggle. As the nation celebrates Emancipation 2025, one representative from the African Cultural and Development Association, ACDA, has urged citizens, particularly those of African ancestry, to never lower their standards, but to carry themselves in high esteem, as the nation is just 31 days away from the hosting of general and regional elections. Let's find out more in this report.
Emancipation is not about just physical liberation, but more so mental, social, and economical, as was expressed by Sister Pendaguyan, executive member of the African Culture and Development Association, ACDA.
It is kind of disturbing when we realize that we have not really grown to the depth that I would have liked to have seen us as far as our self-determination is concerned.
The passionate 1823 Coalition Movement member alluded to the disparities in Guyana, particularly in the education system, to which he elaborated on.
This No Child Left Behind has created a void, right? An academic void for a lot of our youths. You'll be amazed how many of our young children or young adults still cannot even write their names. And this is not a joke.
Guan said despite rapid evolution of technology, it is alarming that there are still Afro-Guyanese who are illiterate. As citizens are slated to cast their ballots on September 1, Guan urged the Afro-Guyanese community not to be used as pawns and to critically analyze the manner in which they are regarded under the current regime. To solidify her points, she referenced the government's plans of erecting pavilions next to the 1823 monument, which is located at the parade ground in Georgetown. Guan contended that it is a clear sign that the state continues to disregard Afro-Guyanese, including their historic values and attributions.
You're at the same time telling the young people that this government is the best thing for them. So you see the point I'm making with education. How could you say this when you're disrespecting the very people that you're asking to support you?
The ALDE representative urged Afro-Guyanese to carry themselves in high esteem.
If you disrespect my four parents, common sense tells me that you're disrespecting me. So how can you disrespect me and still want me to be accountable and to support you? It doesn't make sense.
I am Antonio De reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Commuters have begun enjoying a toll-free travel across the Demerara Harbour Bridge and the Berbice and Wisma Bridge in Linden. Minister of Public Works Juan Edgel on his Facebook page said from midnight Thursday a toll-free travel system across the three bridges will come into effect. Edgel said the decision came following an announcement made by President Irfaan Ali. The president last March, while addressing supporters in Berbice, pledged to make the Wisma Bridge crossing and the Demerara and Berbice bridges free of cost effective August 1. Tolls at the Demerara crossing were $40, $200, $300, $400, $700 and $5,000 for various categories of vehicles, while a fee of $20,000 was required for special crossings and $50,000 for tugs and barges. To cross the Berbice Bridge, car drivers were required to pay $1,900, while the $60 was removed from the Wisma Bridge crossing. We have more news for you after this break. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. You with the HGP Nightly News. General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic and the country's sitting Vice President Barrett Jagdeo is pushing back against media reports that suggest a final agreement has been signed between his government and the Dominican Republic-based Inter-Energy Group Limited for a multi-million-dollar energy supervision deal. According to Jagdeo, negotiations are still underway and nothing has been finalized. Here is more. General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic Barrett Jagdeo's clarification on the multi-million-dollar energy supervision deal signed between the government of Guyana and the Dominican Republic-based Inter-Energy Group Limited comes in the wake of growing public interest and media scrutiny surrounding a proposed $422 million project to overhaul the Guyana Power and Light GPL's infrastructure. The project includes installing more than 300 kilometers of high-voltage transmission lines, constructing 5 new substations, upgrading another, and developing a smarter, more resilient national grid. While the Memorandum of Understanding, an MOU, was signed in January of 2024 to explore potential collaboration, Jagdeo emphasized that the current stage is far from a legally binding deal. He said that when a company makes an offer to the government, it is examined and compared with others to negotiate the exact legal terms. Speaking at his weekly press conference on Thursday, he also confirmed that should an agreement be finalized, it will be made public, and attempted to dispel the notion that there is no secret deal in the works.
We had an MOU with this company since early 2024. And it is for, a lot of it is for the supervision of this infrastructure. You want to, when you build something, a tower like those towers, you want to build them to international standards. You can't get the GPL staff to supervise it.
According to preliminary reports, IEG could be paid around the $650,000 per month to supervise the build-out. Jagdeo defended the figure, explaining that it's below industry norms, which typically range between 5 and 8% of the total contract cost.
So this is a company that is well known, great technical capability. And when you look at the cost compared to other supervision costs based on scale of the civil work contract, you don't see it's a small amount. And it was not secretly done. It's not secretly done. You can't secretly hire somebody.
IEG's potential role doesn't end with supervising construction. The company is also expected to evaluate the grid's current capabilities, help design a smart grid system and assess both gas-fired and fossil fuel power plants in Guyana. Meanwhile, President Irfan Ali had confirmed in April that IEG was one of the partners being considered to assist GPL, describing the company as, quote, in the equation, end of quote, and already offering support in identifying infrastructure gaps. Referring to himself as a quote-unquote social democrat and firm believer in coalition politics, a Partnership for National Unity's candidate Delon Mohammed, in an exclusive interview with Nightly News, cleared the air on the real reason for his departure from the Alliance for Change. Antonio Day reports.
Due to the circumstances, what I believe to be a sabotage of the coalition agreement, I decided to resign from the AFC and to come with the APNU because I am a firm believer in coalition politics.
That was Delon Mohammed, candidate for their Partnership for National Unity, during an interview with Nightly News. Due to the Alliance for Change's inability to reach a consensus on the coalition politics, which would ideally defeat the People's Progressive Party Civic, the former president of Youth for Change stated that he had to take a drastic stance and follow his principles. Mohammed identified himself as a social democrat and reasoned that Guyanese are weary and want the current government out of office due to its dictatorship and capitalistic ideology.
If the only way to remove the PPP is through a coalition, then any effort to sabotage the coalition is not something for me to be a part of.
Because of the internal affairs of the AFC, he said other young people from the party have resigned, including Onyx Duncan, who is an APNU candidate. Mohammed related that he's elated by the overwhelming support from the youths who have joined APNU and are engaged in intense campaigning and groundwork. The former Queen's College student related that he was not always passionate about politics until he witnessed something disturbing in the aviation sector, where he was fully active.
There were lots of loopholes in the system. And seeing that and seeing the effort made by, at the time, the APNU-AFC government to correct that in with the International Civil Aviation Party was something that was very encouraging for me. And
the former Guyana Civil Aviation Authority employee said there were glaring inefficiencies in the sector as it relates to safety and efficiency, but due to political directives, the sector worsened, and this was a breaking point for him to flag and denounce many of the irregularities.
Because there was a remnant in the management of the Civil Aviation Authority at the time from the PPP government that was very heavily against any reforms to the system.
Mohammed is also enthusiastic about mental health, economic development, and other socio-economic issues that contribute to unemployment. He said that under the 7-member APNU-led coalition government, the lives of each and every Guyanese will be transformed. Despite crossovers by former APNU members to the PPP and We Invest in Nationhood parties, the Partnership for National Unity emerged with a promising and youthful candidates which make up a majority of the party's national top-up list. I am Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Good evening and welcome to Friday's edition of the Regional News, and happy Emancipation to all. Starting off with news in Dominica. Dominican Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit says his administration is willing to have public consultations on the possibility of allowing Palestinians to settle in the country. Skerrit made this statement in his contribution to the budget debate in Parliament on Thursday, and I quote, "I believe that we will open to engage the governments of Qatar and Saudi Arabia with a view to quite possibly allowing the resettlement of a couple hundred of Palestinians in Dominica. You have very talented people in these countries, doctors and engineers, who we believe can assist us in efforts to grow in the economy and fill in the gaps," Skerrit said. His proposal comes in wake of several countries stating that they are willing to press for Palestinian statehood at the upcoming United Nations General Assembly. On Wednesday, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced his country's plans to formally recognize Palestine. And last week, France and 14 other countries co-signed a declaration that pointed towards a wave of future recognitions of an independent Palestinian state. Carney's remarks were made amid growing pressure on Israel to end its military campaign in the Gaza Strip, which began on October 7, 2023, in response to a massacre of over 1,000 Israelis by terror group Hamas. Israel has vowed to continue fighting until Hamas is eliminated. Over to news in the Bahamas. Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis has proposed introducing legislation to prevent international fast food franchises from operating in the smaller islands, family islands known for their laid-back atmosphere and natural beauty, citing the growing health crisis linked to poor dietary habits. Speaking during Wednesday's House of Assembly debate on suite of healthcare reform bills, Minnis noted that unhealthy eating habits are contributing to rising cases of obesity, especially among young Bahamians. Minnis pointed to the high concentration of fast food outlets in urban centers as a significant factor driving poor nutrition. He also expressed concern over the frequency of fast food consumption, noting that some residents eat such meals 2 to 3 times per day. He described conditions as high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and obesity as having become a norm in the Bahamian society. And I quote, "We are an increasing unwell people. We are addicted to eating foods that make us sick," he said. And finally, with some international news. President Donald Trump on Thursday signed an executive order that set new tariffs on a wide swath of U.S. trading partners to go into effect on August 7, the next step in his trade agenda that will test the global economy and sturdiness of American alliances built over decades. The order was issued shortly after 7 p.m. on Thursday. It came after a flurry of tariff-related activity in the last several days as the White House announced agreements with various nations and blocs ahead of the president's self-imposed Friday deadline. Thank you for watching. I'm Antonio Day. Goodbye for now.
Members of the Diplomatic Corps Civil Society joined thousands in the National Park in celebration of 187 years of freedom from slavery. President Ali recognizes unbreakable spirit of our African ancestors in Emancipation Day message. IDPADA-G demands justice on Emancipation Day, says the time for equity is now. And JAGDEO shuts down secret deal claims on $422 million GPL energy project. No agreement signed yet. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA. Thanks for watching.